Guardian, we've picked up a high-gain transmission. Origin point is somewhere along the coast, near the Cosmodrome.
Alrighty. What is going on, Guardians across the universe and beyond? It is time for episode 49 of Cosmodrome Radio, the podcast all about Destiny 2 and all the great things about it. We are back once again with a brand new episode. We finally got the setup looking a little bit better. Got like my screens a little bit more organized. Things are a little bit more convenient. Got TikTok over here. Got the OBS over here. Hopefully TikTok won't be over here much longer because we've had some innovations because Panda did his homework and Cajun didn't, and I'm really proud of myself. But it's fine.
You know what? I was the one who pointed you in the direction, okay?
You're right.
You went and did that, okay? I didn't have to do anything because I'm still on a hiatus, bitch.
Hey, and we're proud of you for taking the time that you need, and we're still happy that you're here with us. But I can still be a smart ass if I want to. All right, but don't forget, folks, that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Audible. I don't know why they're on both, but like, hey, if you randomly decide after you're done listening to that random book you bought on Audible and you want to tune in to us, you definitely can do that. So definitely do that. I'm gonna even look and see if we can get like an Audible like a subscription thing going on. It'd be kind of cool. But yeah, well, that's how we do things here. We pop it off. You also can check out the merch store, shop.cosmodromeradio.com. We still have the Corona merch up. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for Christmas. Like, I want to do something cool for Christmas. Haven't figured out what I want to do yet. We might work on that. So look out for that. Make sure you support it if you can and help out with that if you want. Get that merch popping off. Almost an Angel even said in the chat, or you listen to the show like a true boss. Don't have to listen to the other audio version, but there's also like so many episodes because we're on episode 49. 49, and we've been doing the show like weekly, bi-weekly as much as possible, and we're doing the best we can. So we're doing what we can, and we're really proud of that. All right. My name is Panda the Paladin. To my direct right, we have Mr. Hiatus, Mr. Supporting the merch. My favorite Squidward impersonator, Cajun. How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
I swear. But how you doing for real?
I'm doing good, man. Freaking this week's been a nice little breather. Kind of doing some more reflection, but also at the same time spending some time with the girlfriend. We've been just like yourself. We've been going through Doctor Who. Freaking, we just got to season 5. We're a little over halfway through it. So it's been really interesting seeing her reactions to it. But in the meantime,
man,
still playing Destiny 2.
I just hit 6 and it's great.
Still playing Destiny 2, and finally, yes. Solo goes to the deep.
Yes.
Achieved rank 11. Done.
Good job.
That was my first ever solo dungeon run completed and in the books. Done with Strand Titan, Banner of War, Syntheseps build. So yeah, fun times.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Most definitely. And then we have the newest member of the podcast, our little advertiser being a badass and whatnot. Slaves away in PvP too much for her own good, but we still love her. Dirty Terminator, how you doing?
Buddy, hello.
Listen, she was a guest star before, but like she is officially joined the show to hang out with us. How do you feel? How you enjoying things?
It's been good. I'm looking forward to tonight.
That's what's up. And then we have Mr. I'm still a picture, but we're going to work on that. The president of the Zevu Wrath fan club. It's a little sad that Zevu ain't been here in a hot minute, but he'll get there. He'll get there. He'll get his captain status soon enough. Diva, how you doing?
All right. Look, I like to be different. So I'm built different. And sometimes you got to keep the people wanting something so they keep coming back. Look, the first hit's free. Remember that. But after that, you got to pay.
All right. We're going to dive in. We had a main idea of this episode, but then randomly Bungie decided to go, hey, yo, smack 1 article, smack 2 articles. And it was like, okay, not what we expected. Thought we were in drought period, but all right.
But Bungie said, fuck your discussion. Here's some shit for you.
Right, like I thought, like we thought we were in drought season. Usually, like this is the drought season before a new season, so we're gonna go ahead and dive in and talk about some stuff. Bungie decided to walk out and say, "Hey, yo, here's some weapon changes and some great things." We know that pulse rifles are getting a little bit of love next season. They're getting a little bit of gas to them, which is dope as hell. Pepsi is not a great choice. Tea is bad for that. I saw someone in chat say Pepsi great choice, and I say no. As the Diet Coke fiend of the podcast, I say no. But okay, but yeah. So like one thing that Bungie is definitely working on is randomly they're updating Drang and Zauli's Bane to load ammo at the correct point of animation, which I know it's kind of weird, but all right, whatever. Auto rifle and pulse rifle DPS is being increased, which I think is really cool. One thing that I've been saying for a while is that pulse rifles specifically haven't really felt like they have the right amount of gas in PvE. Like there's outliers, of course, like Outbreak Perfected, that always feel like they have gas because of nanites. But in general, pulse rifles and auto rifles haven't really felt like they have a lot of gas. And I kind of agreed with something that someone saw on Twitter today, that there's certain auto rifles like Last Breath that once this buff comes out, you're gonna see people wanting to go grind Prophecy again for things like Last Breath because of how good and dynamic they are for content. Like I think Prophecy is next week. I might actually go sweat it out and hang out with Tolan for a little bit and give me a better Last Breath, because I have a demo. I have a demo Genesis one. I want a demo Frenzy one, so I might have to work on that. And then pulse rifles are also going to get PvE increase to sort of like be comparable to scout rifles. I love that. About to be having disparity on 24/7 because unlike Cajun, I want to cherish my memories of Blast Furnace and I want something similar, so I will enjoy my disparity with pride.
Hey, I want freaking Black Armory weapons back. Okay, I'm just fucking saying, but I just have not gotten a good roll of disparity to freaking run and roll with it. So it's like, okay, whatever.
Gonna take your ass back to Seraph Shield and get you some red borders, motherfucker.
I mean,
Hey, I'm working on it. It's the freaking game decides, oh, we're gonna give you this red border and that red border. Fuck what you want.
What are you gonna say, David?
I was about to say, like, yeah, just go craft it and get the roll you want.
Yeah, but Cajun wasn't here when Seraph happened, so he has to grind Seraph Shield for red borders.
I was on that Destiny hiatus, and Bungie's like, yeah, take your time.
You go regret it.
Exactly.
That FOMO.
Now let's talk about. Go ahead, T.
The thing about the Drang is right though. The animation is really delayed. Like it does the animation, and you have to wait for the sound, and it takes it a couple seconds to actually load into the weapon. It's really weird.
I didn't know that. That's why I'm like, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it screwed me up. What?
That's what happens when you're not a freaking sidearm crutch.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aren't you excited about disparity?
Hey,
let's sit a little longer, shall we?
Can we not hate? Like, can we not hate on pulse rifles because pulse rifles are sexy? Like, I don't have to have a little. Like, pulse rifles.
Don't come at me for Drang.
It's personal now.
If you want to hang out with a little pea shooter, that's all on you. But like,
fine, I'll just swap to a PK Titan with Immortal.
Look,
but I don't even do that as a Titan. I don't even do PK. Like, I don't rock like that. I just roll differently. I'm built different, as Diva would say.
Are you?
I don't even like SMGs all like that. Like, I don't know why SMGs got that.
Leave my Drang alone.
Are you a different animal, but the same beast?
What the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant? Like, I don't know. All right, but like the next thing on the docket that I'm kind of excited about is that they're finally starting to take another look at glaives and actually make glaives worth it in PvE, because the biggest problem that I see in PvE when it comes to glaives is that people want to enjoy that sort of like melee fantasy, that sort of like barbaric way of play, but Destiny really isn't the game for that, and yet people keep trying to like live in that fantasy. And it's like, you're gonna die. And I've seen people try, like, when they see we get Unstoppable Glaive as a champion mod, they get all excited, like, I'll take a Glaive into GMs, and then it's like, good luck with that. And then it goes, and it's just funny.
There were some players that were showing the potential for Unstoppable Glaives, especially Glaives in GMs because of the shield. Just like kind of using like a sword, the sword shield. That damage resistance was so freaking good, especially from a team dynamic. So utilizing that in a GM was actually really good. The problem was that you were giving up a special slot for something that was not as good as, like, let's say, a fusion rifle. Because let's say fusion rifles have been really good in the PvE meta for quite some time.
Did you
So
just call Sweet Business a pulse rifle? Are you okay?
what the fuck?
Bearded just said in chat, the only pulse rifle I like is Sweet Business, and I'm like, wait, what?
So he
What
doesn't
did
like
you
pulse
say?
rifles at all.
Bearded, first off, how many drinks have you had? And secondly, how many fingers do I have up? Anyways,
but I get what you're saying. Plus, Bungie, the one thing Bungie said is they're going to be buffing the projectile speed of glaives. That might actually make them worth it in PvE. That way, they're not having to be as dependent on that. Plus, the one I will say, there has been a couple times where glaives have been kind of beneficial in high-end PvE, like especially for proving grounds GMs, because we found out that glaive shields can block all of the bosses like solar but like bomb things. So that was kind of a cool thing. So I don't know. I think the potential of glaives is there, but it's taking Bungie a thing like this where they're like, we're gonna increase the projectile speed, increase the melee damage, and or the melee delay rather, and like that will actually make them worth it. They should be buffing the melee damage too, if you ask me. But at the very least, we're seeing some movement on glaives, and I really appreciate that because glaives have been kind of like this little side project that kind of felt like like fetch from friggin' like Mean Girls, where it's like someone had an idea for a thing, and I even saw a couple people on Facebook a few weeks back where they're like, we get it, Bungie, glaives were a cool idea, but can we just like throw them out now and play the game the right way? And I'm like,
yeah,
I feel you, but like people are kind of excited about glaives, so we gonna keep rocking with it.
and I think, and this is just me, and I think it's a matter of Bungie needs to find the right dynamic to make glaives a worthwhile choice in the PvE, as well as, and I'm going to say this, within also the PvP spectrum, you know,
Yeah.
because some of the changes that they were also pointing out that they were going to be doing on the PvP side, it felt like it was like in some ways nerfing the glaives, you know, looking at the damage. But the overall, if you look at the projectile speed increase, the fact that it's going to go the projectile is going to go faster, meaning you're going to have a greater chance of hitting your target.
Right.
Plus some of the shield changes as well. That for a PvP player, I don't know. I think that gives another chance to look at it because now you've got a freaking weapon that's got decent melee hit. It's got a good projectile speed for special ammo, and then on top of that, you get a freaking shield.
Yeah. I mean, to hear the PvP sweat, how do you feel about glaives possibly seeing more action in PvP?
Listen. Okay, so story time. I fought this guy. His name is John Alcatraz on TikTok. And it was trials. He whooped my ass. He had that stupid bubble thing, and I didn't know how to fucking like counter that shit. And I was, I put on a shotgun. I put on Forerunner drag. I assault drag. Nothing fucking worked. I suspended him. Didn't fucking work. I got rolled, man. And I happened to see him, and I was like, wait a minute, I know that name. I was like, I fought you. It's like once they get the bubble up, it's just like you're fucked.
Do you mean the shield or like the Titan bubble glaive?
No, the just like the regular like when they take damage and that shield like
the
pops
shield.
up.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
okay.
And then they just fucking shoot you and you just die like a fucking dildo. You just boop dead.
I don't know
It's
those
so
could be
embarrassing.
Like that, all right. Diva, how you feel about glaives getting some more action?
No, they could fucking go in PvP,
As
motherfuckers.
As far as I'm concerned, I feel like glaives are in a horrible spot, and for Bungie to actively make them good, I think would make them overpowered. To get people to use them, they would have to make them like astronomically like overpowered, so people would get the utility out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like back to like what was it? Right at the beginning of Lightfall, you saw a lot of people using Winter Bite because it was like fucking washing the boss. But then the second you took that away, like it became irrelevant.
Yeah.
And like because it serves no purpose. They serve no utility that makes people want to use them. Yeah. And to give them that utility would invalidate the use of any other weapon. So they've kind of put themselves in a box. I'm really interested to see how they work themselves out of it. But I know for damn sure I'm not using that fucking crab claw. Period.
You don't want your crack claw to be hot and
That
shit,
piece of
Diva?
shit. Piece of shit. It's only good in, like, I would say PvP, but even then, it's pretty fucking useless, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, in speaking of Winter Bite, looking at the fact that they're also in this weapon tune-up for season 23, they're taking a pass at Winter Bite. So two things, and I thought that this was freaking well done by Bungie on this. They increased the detonation damage of the large projectile by 25%. 25% is a good chunk of damage.
It really is. It
So
really is.
that just brought it, possibly, I would say, into the viable, maybe a little bit more. But this is the one part right here. The self-damage blast radius has been halved. And then the self-damage has been reduced. So the chance of you surviving a close-up freaking hit with Winter Bite,
it's pretty decent.
Exactly, to where it's not like you're rocking around an extreme version of a freaking rocket launcher, and if you just happen to get a little too close, you're gonna freaking hasta mañana. I don't know. I think with the rework that they're doing to Glades, and if that's gonna affect Winter Bite. Winter Bite could be back on the menu as viability. But
it's possible.
But then let's look at, talk about viability. Sniper rifles.
Oh yes, baby. Oh yeah, sniper rifles are getting another flat buff at 15%. And here's the one thing that Bungie included that has me really excited. This also applies to exotic sniper rifles that use heavy ammo. And you know what that means, boys? Whisper is back on the menu. And oh baby, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a great time, baby. Whisper Squad rise up. Like, it's gonna be a great time. I'm excited.
And as sad as I am to see it and hear it, I already know I've got a couple of friends gonna be like, I can use Darcy again.
Please don't be that guy.
Well, I don't get the Darcy hate. I don't get the Darcy hate whatsoever. Like, what's the Darcy hate, Cage?
I don't know. It just does not feel like an exotic. It's got a freaking range. So it's got a range fighter on the scope. It's not exotic.
They're gonna have to rework it.
Darcy. I mean, people have been saying Darcy needed to be a special weapon for a long time, but like the Bungie never did it. But I'm just happy that Whisper is back on the menu, because Whisper's been kind of like, it's been itching back up. It's been itching back up for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think this might be the last thing to put Whisper back on the menu, and I'm like, oh yeah, baby. Like,
and here's the thing. It brings another exotic that's viable. Okay. You don't want to use a linear fusion rifle? Hey, Whisper of the Worm. You got another option. And to me, having those options, so freaking good. But remember, that's going to be for dealing with a boss that has a freaking static, crit spot, or a boss that's not going to be moving around a whole lot, dealing with a freaking div bubble. Those are going to be the prime opportunities for utilizing freaking something like Whisper. But if you got something that's moving around, or
you say that now, but like, there's gonna be someone that pulls up and does like over a 1 trillion damage with Whisper to Rolk, and we're gonna be like, well, never mind.
Okay, so answering somebody in chat, Whisper needs longer DPS phases.
So, and also, what do you guys think of Izzy? Oh, I didn't think about that. Izzy's gonna get a buff.
Oh shit!
Izzy's gonna get a buff. Because they didn't say Izzy wasn't part of this. So if Izzy gets a buff, Izzy swapping is gonna get even more nasty than it already is.
Damn.
Like, ooh, okay.
I'm calling it right now. Izanagi fully honed is gonna start freaking one-shotting champions, even in GMs.
Oh yeah, and like what really has me excited is like, especially if Bungie rolls out, like, because if you've noticed, ever since the new mod system has come out and the new way they do champion mods has come out, we haven't seen anti-barrier sniper one time. Because before the new mod system, anti-barrier sniper was always the most expensive champion mod because Bungie knew if they gave people anti-barrier sniper for like super short cost, it was going to be a problem. You was going to see like Honed Edge, Izzy's, and everything else just start popping champions like they were nothing. But now you see snipers finally in a healthy place with this bump. They might like be open to the idea of putting anti-barrier sniper back on the menu, and it might be a really good season to see snipers do something really well in PvE. Because I've noticed recently in GMs they've been adding the weapon surge B snipers, and I was like, why would you make weapon surge snipers if snipers aren't a champion mod? And I'm wondering if this is part of the laying the groundwork for that.
You know, also friendly reminder to everybody, freaking next season we're gonna be seeing stasis as a freaking feature. And I'll put like this: a lot of people, I know Panda was telling me about a build he put together. A lot of people starting to dust off those freaking stasis builds and looking to see, you know, in the current meta, in the current sandbox, you know, what builds can be made with freaking stasis. So get ready.
I'll tell y'all right now. If y'all been sleeping on Icefall Mantle, that buff it got this past season, y'all been sleeping on it. It's dirty, especially if you combined it with like stasis shards or like icicle lances. Disgusting. So but say TD, I don't know how y'all feel about snipers, but I'm excited.
I'm mad.
Why?
But I'm mad at the PvP side.
Well, this isn't a PvP buff. This is a PvE buff.
I know. I don't use snipers in PvE.
Last TWID, freaking, and I think this patch, this past patch, snipers got freaking, you know, cut off at the freaking knees in the PvP scene.
That's fair.
No, it's not. It's not fair. I don't like it.
Okay.
No, I use a fucking fusion in PvE. That's it.
You're the problem. You're the problem. Okay.
Hey, I have a no composure. I love that thing.
I've been saying for the longest time that one of the biggest mistakes Bungie ever made was giving fusions hit scan because it created the reign of main ingredient, and that I still say it was a problem.
Plug 1 is good too. Plug 1 is good.
You right.
I mean,
speaking. Oh, go ahead, Diva. Go ahead.
So the thing I look at is like utility, right? Because, you know, in PvE and in PvP, a weapon's only as good as how often you're going to use it.
Right.
And so, like, snipers, like, don't really do anything outside of the norm that you can't do with, like, another weapon better and have more, like, usage out of it. Like, you know, a shotgun's great, don't get me wrong. But in PvE, like, I can use a fusion rifle to take out multiple different enemies instead of just one. If I fucking swing it from the hip, right?
But Diva, imagine anti-barrier cloud strike though.
I think that was supposed to be the role it was supposed to play, but like, why use a sniper rifle for damage when I got linears? Why use
that's valid.
Why use that when I got rockets? Why use that when I got GLs? Like, you really like it's. I think it's just niche. Right? Snipers are going to be like a really like high skill, high reward kind of thing.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's just the shitty situation that they're in.
Well, that's the thing. When it comes to certain weapon types, there's always going to be those ones that are good no matter what freaking skill level you're at. And then there's going to be ones that are, you know, not good for some players, but exceptionally good for the skillful players. You know, you're always going to have those type of weapons that are going to be high skill, high reward. And I would say that's where you kind of want to be like, okay, if I can't really be able to utilize that weapon to its max because I'm not there in skill, that's something I should aim for or try to move up to if possible.
Fair enough. Okay, so here's the one that I'm kind of excited about. So, Vex Mythoclast. I'm excited, kids, because I was hyped when Vex got a little bit of a PvE bump. It got a little bit of a range change and a couple tweaks in PvP. So that was kind of cool that they changed the RPM of it a little bit. But then Bungie was like, how do we give it a little bit more agency in PvE? And and rather than giving it an intrinsic champion mod, because they thought about doing that, they said, what if we just gas up the linear fusion rifle mode? I'm like, oh, excuse me? So not only are they giving Vex increased damage against red bars 10% and bosses by 25%, but they're making it so when you have it in linear fusion rifle mode, they're increasing the damage against champions by 200%.
Dude, when I saw that, I was like, wait, that has got to be a freaking typo. So I kind of sat there and was like, refresh. I was like, wait, no, they're not changing that. They literally meant 200%. I was like, oh, that's they're literally sick.
They're literally encouraging you to get kills with Vex and then just go click. Pew, and it's gonna be dirty.
Delete stuff. Like, oh man, I'm so conflicted. Well,
no, because what I find interesting is because they did the same thing. They're doing the same thing with Revision Zero though, because they're making it so because Revision Zero has intrinsic anti-barrier, but they noticed that like not a whole lot of people are using Revision Zero, so they're like, hey yo, we're gonna make it so Revision Zero has 100% more damage against champions. I'm like, Bungie done lost their mind.
Well,
they're trying to get people to use it. Because, compared to something like Wishender, I don't think there's a reason to run any other like anti-barrier kinetic ever. It's just that good.
And you're right. You're right on the money. Wishender is by far the best, not only just the best anti-barrier, but as far as bows in the PvE scene, especially endgame, it's the best out there. And so, Revision Zero was supposed to be the counter to it, another weapon type that was supposed to be, I would say, equivalent from an archetype standpoint. The problem is that it's never hit the way that it's supposed to. The 2-round burst freaking mode is chef kiss. Yes. But the sniper, now this is going to be interesting. Now, this is what I want to see. When you put Revision Zero in sniper form, is it going to receive the 15% sniper damage increase? Number one. But then number two, if that's on top of what they're also doing to Revision Zero against champions, that weapon might just cook in the season 23 GM meta. That's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to play out.
He's definitely right about that. I just got really excited because I've always loved Revision Zero in concept where like it's a pulse rifle. You know me, I love my pulse rifles, but it's a pulse rifle that encourages you to use it by getting kills and having that incentive. I think that's genius. And like I can definitely like resonate with T a little bit that Revision Zero when it first came out in PvP was a little nasty, but then Bungie kind of cranked it down a little bit so you don't see it as much. But it's like if they do it what they've been doing to a certain extent, when they like move it over to PvE more, that would give it a sort of like a place to exist and be healthy. If that makes sense. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I don't think you're wrong. I think that they're trying to move and make, because I think it's a pretty prominent feeling that exotics don't feel exotic. Right?
Yeah.
And so I think they're trying to get boost these weapons and give them that umph in power that makes them feel powerful and whatnot to get people to want to run them. But I'm like, especially with the Vex. Look, I love the Vex. I got one of my very first Conqueror seals with the Vex. It's very near and dear to me. But I can genuinely say this buff might fucking make it a problem.
What do you mean?
The Vex is already.
It's not gonna be a PvP thing. It's gonna be a PvE thing.
In PvE, look, the Vex is already a menace. PvE wise. You're telling me I'm gonna be able to use this thing in boss DPS? too. Like, that's
because it is getting 25% boost against bosses. So like, that's true. He may have a point, especially if you use the like bait and switch rotations. That might actually be worth your time.
Like,
That's very true.
See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? This thing like turned out to be a menace. It's like, then you put that with something like Warlock with the Rain of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dude,
that thing's gonna be ridiculous.
Okay, well let's hit these class glaives real quick because these class glaives are about to be real quick, and then we'll like
hold on.
Thorn. I forgot.
Thorn.
So
this is like
I'm
me
concerned.
like scared and horny at the same time. All right, and I'm not a hand cannon person.
I'm just scared. Because I T has hurt me bitch about how I don't like Thorn. T has hurt me bitch. So I'm already someone just said in chat I'm thorny. I'm done.
Oh my god. Really?
I love it. That person deserves.
So Bungie announced not only with the catalyst giving it 20 range and 10 stability and getting but they're making it so getting kills or picking up remnant will give you additional range and handling and mobility, but picking up a remnant can overflow the magazine up to 40 rounds. Holy shit.
I got 40 goddamn rounds in this 4-round mag.
Oh my dear.
I'm concerned.
I'll never reload again.
I'm concerned. Like Thorn has already been kind of like middle of the road menace for a while, but like because the minute I heard it was getting a catalyst, I was like, this is gonna be a bad thing right here. This is gonna be bad. And then now they're saying this, and I'm just like,
it needed the range though.
But it was
very short.
Problem.
Not really. I mean, like, but it fell so short. Like compared to other hand cannons. Yeah, I mean, the TTK is like really high on it, but I mean, like if you're on like a larger map or some shit, you gotta like get up in their business in order to hit them.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like it really seriously like lacked range, and I'm glad that it's finally getting some range.
Valid. So I don't know. I'm just worried because like Thorn was already a pain in my ass before, but now you're gonna have people like Cajun running around being thorny, and I'm just worried. So that
okay, Panda, just bubble.
Yeah, I'll bubble. Fine. Hey, Void Titans have been the shit for as long as I can remember, and I will always be the shit. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Speaking of Void Titan, Panda, you'll get a kick out of this. So first off, shout out to Holy Chewbacca over on her Twitch stream. I joined up one of her raids earlier this week.
Oh, sure.
And we decided to do the Void achievement for Crota's End. So imagine, if you will, 5 Void Titans and 1 Void frickin' Hunter. We actually completed the entire raid as such. Fuck your wells. Void bubbles are the way to go with Crota. Because he can't destroy them bitches.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of a glorious time back during season 14. when Atheon first came back into our lives, and when me and a bunch of dudes did the Void challenge, and it was during the season where energy accelerant was a thing, and all we did was run up in the cut with Void bubbles and Crown Splitter, and it was a dirty time for Atheon. That might be how I do my Void run, as I might get like 5 Titans and a Hunter. I might have to do that. Diva, I might have to sign you up for that because that might be a fun time. Oh man, that was a fun time. Now you got me horny. I'm excited now. But all right, so
he's like, what did I sign up for?
Do I have regrets? Do I?
Hey, you're the one who wanted to do the advertising for us, so you signed up for this.
Okay, fair enough.
So Bungie is taking another stab. Get it? With the class glaives, because obviously the class glaives ain't seen no action since their introduction, and because they're not only granting more ammo when you activate the perk, so like free ammo from nowhere. They're no longer passively draining the shield energy when you use special reload to activate the perk, and they're no longer deactivating by reloading or storing weapons. Which I think that's the one thing that needed to happen for those glaives was you not losing the perk just because you reload or stow it. Because there were so many times where like I could be playing Gambit or anything like that, trying to use Edge of Action for certain builds, and you reload that thing, gone. You can't do nothing with it, and it just sucks. So I'm excited about that. They're changing the effect of the healing turret projectiles to grant cure, and provide restoration for the Warlock Glaive. They're increasing the AoE radius by 8 meters, which is kind of cool, and they're giving it more ammo, which is dope. The Titan Glaive passing through the bubble now grants bonus reload speed, handling, and a small amount of stacking bonus damage, but they are dramatically crushing the health of these bubbles from 8,000 to 2,400 to account for the increased uptime and improved effects. Damn.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how I kind of feel about that. I feel like that last bit might have been a bit of an overkill.
I can see 8,000 to 5K, but like 2,400, dog, like that's a lot.
But then the question is, how often can you proc that?
That's true.
If you can bring that up very quick, if you can bring that back up very quickly, well, then at that point, it's kind of mute because now you can just freaking, pop a bubble.
Yeah. So that we'll have to keep an eye on that and report back on that. But they are also for the Hunter Glaive, they're making the Lightning Seeker jolt targets, which is really good. Actually, it makes the quality of life a little bit better with that. Bungie, please add jolt to Trinity Ghoul, please. I'm begging you. But in terms of that might actually make that glaive worth it to a certain extent, and they're also reducing the direct hit damage of the Lightning Seeker to account for the free ammo granted. So that's kind of cool. Now here's the controversial pick, situation here. Osteostriga. They have decided that, quite frankly, bitch has been kicking too much ass for too long. So they are removing the damage bonus scaler that affects the poison damage to bring it more down to match standard necrotic grip poison. Though as an exotic, it will still deal 40% bonus damage against minors. So that's kind of controversial.
So basically, the SMG bonus that was, given out a while back was also affecting the poison. So this feels like it's more of we kind of let this slide. It was a bug that wasn't intended for the poison, but now because of how I'm going to say widely used Osteostriga is, it's like, okay, we got to rein that in.
See, like, here's the thing, though. No one's really been using Osteostriga all season because of not having a champion mod. So, like, it really hasn't mattered in the grand scheme of things this season, at the very least. So, if we see the reintroduction of a champion mod, I could see it becoming more of a problem again. But this season in particular, I think the past 2 seasons, we haven't seen an SMG champion mod. So, because Bungie just keeps reloading anti-barrier auto rifle. So they removed the anti-barrier auto rifle being combined with SMG, because for a while we had Overload auto rifle combined with Overload SMG, but now we're not seeing that carry over with auto rifle. So I think if this would have been more of a problem to me if it was a champion mod, but if it's not a champion mod, I'm not that worried about it, if that makes sense. But I see why Bungie's concerned. I don't know. Like, Osteo wasn't really a problem for me, but I don't know.
Osteo still is a relatively high PvE usage, and it's also because of the fact, for those that don't know, when it comes to heavy brick ammo generation, having an exotic primary is a good way of increasing the heavy brick generation on kills. And so when you look at Osteostriga and how powerful it is, especially with being able to, you kill something and it spreads poison, that poison procs on other enemies, you've got a chain reaction going, especially if they're freaking simple red bars. So imagine, if you will, all those free kills just from emptying the mag, and then now you got an overfilled mag, and you just go freaking waylaying into town. You got heavy bricks for days.
Right. That makes sense. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of overkill, but we'll have to see what happens with that. They're making it so Salvation's grip gets a speed limiter. That way people can't just blow up the stasis crystals like crazy and cause an error code. So that's okay. That's fine. I also think that was done to a certain extent to stop people from glitching out of the map. So I'm okay with that. We already talked about Winterbite, which is cool. So Danger Zone. Danger Zone has been a perk that hasn't really been cared about or used for a long time, and Bungie took a little bit of notice of that. So they're changing it on rocket launchers, where we'll have to figure it out when Season 23 drops. Bungie, what you doing to Danger Zone? I'm a little concerned. Like, you just got like laying the foundation and then not telling nobody what's going on? Okay. So that will be interesting to find out.
Anticipation.
Right. And then from there, in terms of the what future plans that Bungie has going on, T will be excited about this one. They're taking a look at the bow tuning for PvP.
Thank fucking God.
Like, it ain't been that bad, has it?
Yes. And then they start losing. They all throw on bows, and they all sit in the back. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. It's like that thing you have to put on a bow, because if you can't beat them, you have to join them. And it's like anything with Destiny. Like Antaeus Wars have always been good, right? They've always fucking been there. And then all of a sudden, this dildo's like, hey, these are really fucking good. And then everybody and their mom uses the same shit, and it's like you're fighting for your fucking life. Like, Christ, I'm so sick of bows. And they're infinite fucking snipers. There's no limit. There's no fucking limit to them. And it drives me absolutely fucking nuts. Just sit there. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm so pissed off.
I won't be like pointing at you on the street. Like, you preaching how I've been preaching about Antaeus, where Antaeus were fine. Antaeus were good. They were standard. But everyone figured out, like, oh, it counters everything. Now we're all going to use it.
Yeah, because my friend Bravis, you probably seen him on TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. He's the white Titan that's always in the Trials gear. Mm-hmm. He's the one that, because he was like, oh, we used to be a Titan main. Here, let me show you some things, DT. I was like, okay, cool. And we were in a private match. He showed me and Neptune Antaeus Wars. I was like, you got it like that? I was like, wow. And then like a couple months later, everybody and their mom started using that shit. And I was like, fuck this. Fuck this.
It genuinely happened because the fusion rifle meta was so bad. And it's like, it's this.
That and they made freaking that, and they changed
Immortal.
The projectile speed on bows.
Yeah.
To where they were hit scan. When that happened, that's when the bow popularity popped off.
Yeah. So it's just, I think the issue with bows overall is like they're a cool thing in concept, but I find it real funny that everybody and their mama about like 4 months ago kept bitching and moaning about pulse rifles and barricades, saying that pulse rifles and barricades slow down gameplay too much, because that you can shoot people from far away with them. And now it's like everybody's got a bow, and it's like, you hypocritical motherfuckers. You just don't like playing RPGs. You just prove Panda's point. I see how it is. That's fine. Okay, y'all just hypocrites. That's cool.
No,
but whatever.
No. It's the fact that the things that they are making meta is encouraging people to sit back and create boring like gameplay. It's like built for people that play PvE to give you those kills for you sitting in one spot, while people like other people, they go around everywhere and you're just sitting there picking people off. Like, that's not fun. Like, no offense if that's how you play it, that's fine. Right. But it creates boring situations for everybody else, and that's where Destiny is lacking.
Right, but at the same time, the one thing that I can't stand is when people say, "Oh, like pulse rifles or barricades slow down," or like even bows to a certain extent slow down gameplay, because that's what those were created to do. They were meant to like slow down or deprecate the gameplay. That way, you can't always just run in for free with a hand cannon and a shotgun and be slick. And yet, people get agitated when their way of play is being determined for them, and they can't think of a new plan. They panic and go, hand cannon don't work. I don't know what to do with my life. And it's like,
no. What happens is, in that situation, Panda, is you have to put on something that is equally as good or better and do the same shit. And I'm like, how is that fun? That's not fun.
I mean,
Like-
how is it fun having a stompy hunter jump over your head with a shotgun and bust you in the head before you can process information?
I can't help it if you can't look up.
requires skill.
Like, I really can't help you there. You just look up.
I can't help it if you can't whip out a pulse rifle and fuck with me. What's
You
your
know
point?
how hard it is?
No,
Hold up.
it's just not fun. Like for me, it's not fun. It's just it annoys me, especially on Fortress. That one boulder, that little motherfucker is always sitting there with like fucking no time or some bullshit, mine a multi tool or, and you're like trying to just live your life, and they're like poo poo poo, and you're dead. And you're just like fuck you.
The sad thing is that when it comes to PvP, you're always going to have campers. You're always going to have your
Yeah.
you're always going to have your freaking zoomers. You've got these people. They're so honed into this particular archetype play style.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what you do, the sad thing is, and this is just my viewpoint, if you want to be a good PvP player, you have to be well-rounded. You have to know how to be able to counter these type of individuals. And that's where weapon type, weapon choice comes into play. Yes, for some people, they have their preferences as far as weapon types and how they want to use them. But here's the thing: when you have a gunplay game like Destiny, it's a matter of choice. What choice am I going to utilize, and how is that going to counter the enemy team?
Exactly.
If they're utilizing choice A, I may have to go outside of my comfort style and play with choice C in order to counter and quote unquote bully them in order to win.
And the problem with that scenario is that a lot of people, when it comes to PvP, don't want to think outside the box and change their play style. They get too comfortable with their style of play, and they go, "Oh, I can't just run in for free and do whatever the fuck I want. I have to think differently." But I don't like to think differently. So hey, Bungie, nerf this, and that's a problem. You can't because I remember like a while back when barricades were like a hot topic. There was somebody on a different show that did like an hour-long rant about why barricades de-incentivize like fast gameplay. But that's the point. It's supposed to slow down gameplay and make you think of a new strategy, but people don't want to take 5 seconds to think. They rather just have Bungie knock down their problem like a wrecking ball, like they're Miley Cyrus, and get it out of their way, or Dolly Parton, because Dolly Parton has released a freaking cover of a wrecking ball. But at the same time, it's like we should be wanting more dynamic gameplay. I would think. I don't know.
Well, but look at Breaches in the chat. Take Headseeker for example. Buffs damage for having poor aim.
That's fair. That's fair. Headseeker is a controversial rework that I haven't really been too thrilled about, because I'm somebody that would rather use a damage perk like Kill Clip, because it encourages you to get a kill before just encouraging you for missing. So I can get behind. I get what you're saying about that. So that's the one thing I'll give you.
Oh no, it's just oh, sorry, Cajun. Go ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say, but I also see Headseeker as kind of like, and I'm people are probably gonna look at me weird when I say this. It's kind of like an accessibility. It's kind of like an accessibility perk. Okay, so basically, let's say you're not quite as skilled with your aim, so being able to at least hit your target doesn't necessarily have to be the headshot. Hitting your target gives you some benefit to where if you hit that crit spot, hey, bingo, you got a little bit of extra damage.
True. Yeah, that's fair. But especially with the
kind of see it as a
but here's the other thing. But right,
a consistency perk. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, consistency perk.
So, but remember, and no matter what, he who freaking hits the crit spot is gonna win.
Yeah.
If you can hit that consistently, things like Headseeker aren't really going to be that much of a problem.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Once again, it's down to the player's skill.
Have you seen the Adept Messenger in 2 tabs?
Yeah, that was the big problem. But that's more of an archetype issue than a perk issue, I feel like. And Bungie needs to tune the archetype. That way, when it gets a buff, when it's getting a buff from a perk, it isn't dynamic enough where it is two tapping. Because I love my outlaw kill clip messenger adept because it rewards me for my kill, not just for my missed shots or my body shots, or rather. But that is a very interesting thing about that. Like we'll have to have a more PvP focused episode soon because I definitely feel like there's more we can dig into that. I definitely want to touch on some of the Festival of the Law, or at least the TWID. We dove into the Wednesday article. I'm gonna dive into some more of the TWID topic. So, but Bungie heard some of the concerns about Rahul and whatnot, and they're changing some of the costs in terms of since we're getting rid of legendary shards, they're sort of tuning things. My thing is, just don't get rid of legendary shards, Bungie. Please, God, stop deprecating your game currencies, please. But no one will listen to me.
It needs to go.
And also to Breach in chat, who's saying make hand cannons meta again, and T over here supporting that. Hand cannons will always be in the meta, but when hand cannons are too dominant, it's a problem. But I will die in that hell. T, do you have a response for my critical opinion?
I'm sorry, I was reading the TWID. My bad. My bad.
I said to the make hand cannons meta again statement, I was saying hand cannons will always be meta. They just don't need to be so dominant that nothing can beat them.
I'm not saying they have to be dominant, but I mean the current meta kind of sucks. It's just not fun for me.
140s and 120s still slap. What do you mean?
Like what we got going on with bows.
Yo, Palindrome still slaps. Igneous came back with a fury and started kicking dicks in.
No. Yeah, that's fair.
Still slaps. Because here's the thing: what people want from a hand cannon meta, or at least from what I see, I don't know what you want this, but from what I've seen on YouTube, especially, I remember one person said in a video once, if hand cannons are healthy, the game is healthy. And I'm like, what most people want from hand cannons is to have it to where no other primary weapon can thrive against them. And that's a problem. Because I remember back around Beyond Light, around that era, everyone loved hand cannons nonstop. And it became a thing of pulse rifles can't beat them. Auto rifles can't beat them. Scout rifles can't beat them. SMGs can't beat them. Sidearms can't beat them. Nothing can challenge a hand cannon. And I don't think that's a healthy situation for a game. No, I thought recently where we reached a point where it's some pulse rifles are kind of hot. Some auto Ambit came out of nowhere this season and was like, hey, yo, I'm gonna kick some dicks in. I was like, all right, sure. Do your thing, Ambit. Do your thing.
Aggressive frame, Ambit.
Yeah. Aggressive frame, Ambit. Oh my god.
Oh god.
But or even SMGs had a little bit of spotlight recently. I thought that was kind of cool. But in terms of if hand cannons are the only dominant thing in the game, I think that's a problem. If you ask me, if they're the only thing that can thrive, that's a problem to me. Because I remember that that was the biggest issue during that Beyond Light to about a few 2 seasons before Witch Queen, where it was just the only thing that was existing was if you didn't have a hand cannon and a shotgun in your arsenal, you weren't playing the game right. And I thought that was kind of concerning.
I hear the opposite from people. They're like, that's the best meta, hand cannon meta at that time. That was the best time in Destiny. And you're like, nah. So I'm like, what?
Right, because that's what they want. They want their 2 to 3 tap shots, and that's what they want. They only want that kind of gameplay to thrive. They only want hand cannons to thrive, and that's not a healthy system for a game. You should want pulse rifles, auto rifles, hand cannons, SMGs, all to be able to combat up against each other. Because it's if only one archetype can thrive in a game mode, what's the point of all these other guns? You know what I mean?
Exactly. So think of weapon gameplay as a freaking very complex game of rock, paper, scissors. Everything's got to counter something. And
I like that statement.
And if you've got this one weapon that is king overall, doesn't matter what other weapons come up against it, it's still going to be the dominant. Basically, it's fuck rock, paper, scissors. It's freaking cannons all day.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just
I think she's more upset by bows right now than anything else.
Yeah, I'm just mad at PvP right now because that's all I fucking do. Like me and my best friend Nicholas, that's all we play. We like live there, and we're not happy.
So the thing
Mad.
that I see in PvP, and I think this is like a part of the player culture that I've noticed about a lot of like Destiny players, is a lot of the community are meta whores, and no matter what the content, no matter where you go, they will always look for the most ease of use, easy, like easy pay to win strategy, cheese, and that is what they will run.
Yeah,
Like
that's what happened with Titans
during
recently,
the
where literally
Shadow
all you
Dive-
heard people were saying. I remember when recently with Titans, when Arc Titan was built the way Bungie wanted it to be built, but people were like, "Oh, I'm a Warlock main, I'm a Hunter main, but like Titans are just too good. I have to play Titan," and it's like that's not healthy, dummy. Figure out how to play against it. Like
it was the same thing with the Shadow Dive Hunters. You saw
oh god,
it was an easy
more
win.
flashbacks. Oh god,
Everybody ran to it. Like people will always run to whatever secures wins the easiest and the fastest.
you just give me war flashbacks.
No matter what the content, people
And
will
look,
always
I just have to
go
say this.
to the
I just have to say this
fastest
in
way to
my
win.
defense. I never ran to it. I just was always a freaking hunter main at that point, to where it's like, okay, bitches, haha.
I just have war flashbacks from nothing but Shadow Dive, where like literally I would walk into a fight and literally like get immediately like squad wiped by a Shadow Dive. So I have like really bad PTSD from
I
Shadow
can't
Dive
say
meta.
that. As a hunter, like at the time, I wasn't really there during the time where it was like really, really bad. But right as Bungie started to talk about nerfing it, I was there, and like people would go to throw the stasis nade, and I would just shatter dive it and kill them before they could kill me. And it every time. But
so to touch on the whole meta thing and possibilities and stuff in the future, this last bit before we really hop over to the TWID, this last bit I want to touch on. In the far future, Necrochasm is going to get a buff to extend the duration of the poison damage over time effect it applies from Cursed Thrall. That was very interesting. And it says it will also have a new catalyst called One for Thrall. By the way, nice little touch on that. I like
I
that.
love how literally everyone complained about how shit Necrochasm's catalyst was. So Bungie's like, "Hey, yo, we'll give you a new catalyst."
Yeah. And then
like you can't just give an auto rifle outlaw and be like, "Hey, yo, this is a catalyst." Like, come on now.
And then they stated that buffs to Truth, Colony, Dead Man's Tale, as well as other exotic weapons are in the far future. Freaking, if you know Man at Arms, all I'm gonna say, the Colony is literally coming for your ass.
Oh, all bro. Right. Like in relation to that, real quick. Hey, DMT's back on the menu, boys. Let's go.
Oh no.
But also Truth is finally being brought back to life after it was made irrelevant. Thank God. Just give it like auto destabilizing rounds or something. Like make it relevant. Because like just saying, oh, Truth is like an auto tracking rocket. That's not really a perk anymore. That's just a rocket launcher in Destiny. Just like it needs something else. Make it the Truth again. Make it the thing we want to use again, damn it.
And all the old people are going to be excited.
And then, yo, excuse me?
Yeah, because we all started back in 2013, 14?
Yep. Freshman year of college, boy. Let's go.
I didn't need to be called out like that. But anyway, speaking
I'm
of
old too, Cajun.
Heavy grenade launchers will get a substantial inventory buff. Do I smell the return of GLs?
Do you smell the return of anarchy?
I'm about to be validated for all the freaking spiked grenade launchers that I got sitting in my freaking vault right now.
I feel
That's
like
the reason why we got a vault, people.
I feel like the kid from Talladega Nights. I don't know what anarchy means, but I love it. Like, yes.
That's me right now.
Anarchy. Like, bro, if you were here for Season of the Splicer when Breach and Clear was a thing, it was just shotgun, anarchy, like just non-stop, bro. Like, I'm excited. Ooh, it's gonna be a good time to be a GL fan again.
It's copium DPS. Look, man.
Don't be hating on my GLs, man. Don't be hating on my GLs.
I'm gonna say this. The more options that players have for freaking DPS options,
The better.
The better. And here's the bottom line. No one weapon should be the win-all, be-all for DPS phases.
Exactly.
Okay?
That's the biggest problem we've had with Destiny.
Crota's N proved that beyond a shadow of a freaking doubt. Okay?
Agreed.
Freaking the fact that freaking you've got freaking weapons like Thunderlord once again in the freaking rain, Leviathan's Breath, linear fusion rifles for freaking that's just for your Ute. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you got Crota's End or Crota, look what freaking happened. Yeah, everybody jumped to lament, but what happened? The one weapon that everyone shit on since it came out, legendary, is now in the freaking
because
meta.
To be fair, it still doesn't have any good perks. They just made Surrounded be relevant. So that's all they really did. They made Surrounded be relevant, so now the sword actually can do a thing. That, like, it really isn't even that much of a substantial great thing. It's just like, hey, yo, this thing this is semi-relevant now, despite not having that many good perks.
Hold on, I just saw this comment, and the myth needs to be busted right now.
What's the myth?
Breaches, guess what? That is a false narrative.
What's the false narrative?
And foremost, okay, so Leviathan's Breath is FPS tied. That is incorrect. It is false. So originally when it was tested against Greg. And since then, they have found that Greg
You mean Carl?
Carl, whatever. Carl, Greg, whatever Astro
Carl
wants to call him. He has a bug that for some reason has an FPS issue with some weapons.
That random FPS thing is fake. It's not real.
Yeah. So basically, you've had Maddox, Mana Destro, I believe he is on YouTube, where they've tested it against other freaking bosses and have shown that no matter what your FPS, by the way, your Discord is doing something weird.
Oh, okay. Snap. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, no matter what your FPS, Leviathan's Breath does the same exact damage. It is not FPS based. The only boss, the only mob that it was FPS difference to was freaking Carl.
Yeah, so now that we know that, like, while Leviathan's Breath is definitely a great tool, it's definitely, I think the great thing about what Cajun was saying, though, is that, like, we don't have a situation like with Taipan and linear fusion rifles when Witch Queen came out, or when they were only, like, shotguns, like, were the only thing you could use to burn down a boss. Like, we are in a healthy meta right now where literally there are so many different varieties and so many different options for different players to come in and say, hey, I want to be useful in DPS. What can I run? And they have multiple different options at their disposal. So I definitely feel like this is a great thing right now where this should be encouraged. I don't like a meta where it's like Galahorn or Kick. I like a meta where it's like, hey, yo, you got a grenade launcher, you got a shotgun, you got freaking Legend of Acreus, you got Lament, you got a rocket launcher. We can figure it out, and we'll get you some good DPS on our team. That's how a game can thrive, where it's accessible to the player base, and it isn't just like, hey, yo, if you don't have this one gun, you're gone. Like, come on, like that was one of the justifications of why Bungie nerfed Anarchy in the first place, was because it wasn't accessible to the player base because they put it behind the Monument of Lost Light. So they threw their hands up and were like, screw it, we're just gonna give it a freaking ammo economy nerf. And it was like, why not just make more ways for people to get spoils, Bungie? How about that? And it would solve the problem, but apparently not. So
that's because
and not only that,
you dilute the like actual value of the currency. It's like counterfeiting.
I just think the issue at hand was, especially when Bungie decided to nerf Anarchy, was the only ways to really farm Spoils of Conquest was Templar farming. And before that, right before that, it was Crypt Security. Like literally, I remember right before Breach and Clear came out, during Season of the Chosen, where I was running I was double scanning for different LFG teams for Crypt Security to get enough spoils for Anarchy. I remember those dark days. I think Bungie needs to make more accessible ways to get spoils for people. That way, you see less videos of people like, hey, here's how a solo player can get spoils of Conquest. And this should just be a bare minimum thing. You should get like 2 to 3 spoils per dungeon clear. That should just be a basic thing, because Spoils of Conquest should be part of the raid/dungeon package. And if you make that accessible to people, where if you do a dungeon, you could get 2 to 3 spoils per completion, and then if it's on rotation, you can farm whatever dungeon boss for spoils if you want to, if you're a solo player, because that way it would encourage people to do something like that. But that's just me. I don't know. But in terms of the TWID, what we were talking about, Bungie is making it so Rahul quits being so stingy. They're making it so his currencies get cleaned up a little bit, because they're like, hey, we're getting rid of legendary shards, but prisms and cores are still expensive as shit. So they're making it so you can buy 3 enhancement prisms per week, and they cost 10 enhancement cores and 2,500 glimmer. It used to be 10,000 glimmer. And then 1 ascended shard can be 10 enhancement prisms, and 10,000 glimmer was 50,000 glimmer. And you can buy 3 ascended shards per week. They're making it so ascended alloy is just 10 enhancement prisms and 10,000 glimmer, and you have 3 per week. And 5 enhancement cores. You can buy 5 enhancement cores for 1 prism, and 2,500 glimmer and you get 3 per week. So that's cool. So 15 enhancement cores. I think that's cool.
Real quick, let's take a look at this, because I don't think a lot of players really understand how much of a quality of life this is right here. Not only is the glimmer cost going down, so that's win number 1. Okay. Win number 2 is that now we have more Ascendant Alloy access for players. That right there, get ready to craft, ladies and gentlemen. Get those enhanced perks. Let's freaking go to town.
Because truth be told, it's been a problem recently that Bungie needed to fix for a while.
So to me, right there, that's a freaking win. And also dropping the freaking glimmer costs on the Ascendant shards. Chef kiss
on the prisms too.
Yeah,
that's gonna make prisms so much more accessible to players, because what we're finding right now, especially when people are trying to encourage players to use the blue farm method to get enhancement cores before legendary shards go away, no one can afford prisms unless you do legend nightfalls or grind each vendor up to rank 15. So that's kind of cool that they're actually doing that. So props to Bungie for doing that.
So I will say this to any and all players that are doing the blue armor grind: wait until next season. Wait until next season to start doing that, because you're going to notice a substantial increase to your buff. Now, provided, knock on wood, Bungie doesn't fucking nerf that little shindig, before season 23. But if they don't, that's the season. That's the season. Go ham on the blue freaking armor farm.
And stack up stack up stuff now. That way, when you are able to farm that, it's worth your time.
Stack up your legendary shards. Get that economy boosted up, right? Get it set up for next season, and then next season go to town. Use the legendary shards to get your freaking enhancement cores, get your materials in place, get your phantasmal fragments ready. So that way, when final shape hits, you've got your enhancement cores ready. You've got your freaking prisms. You're good on golf balls. You're good on alloys.
Everything.
And then you've got your phantasmal fragments for your freaking glimmer dump. When you go broke, you'll be set.
All right. Now, this is one more thing I want to touch on before we talk about our main topic of the evening. So Bungie put in the TWID, and they keep having to talk about this. So they talked about from their product security team that people are still doing recovs and putting their accounts at risk. For someone who doesn't know what a recov is, It's when you give somebody your account information to do content for you for either free, for payment, for other amenities. I don't know what you'd be doing for people. I don't know. Mowing their lawn. I don't know. But I'm not gonna be dirty on here. It's not my job. But like in terms of that, like you giving a person your account access and risking your account by doing something, and they'll do content for you. That is considered cheating. Don't do it. Especially in PvP, because Bungie will ban you for that shit. And B, there's still a risk for PvE as well that you can lose out on shit. And like, granted, there are some people that are like, oh, well, my friend does content for me and shit. But it's like, that's still putting your account at risk. If you're signed into like you're in like California 1 minute, but then you're in Timbuktu the next minute, that looks very shady and really weird. So Bungie has the authority to ban your account if you're doing some crazy shit. So
people do that for PvE though. I've never heard of recuts for PvE.
People use them to do
the pre-orders on certain sites for day one raid, bro, were insane.
Like day one raid or like solo flawless
solo dungeon runs.
Yeah, or there's like flawless runs. That way you can get shaders. People do that shit all the time.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought it was just strictly PvP.
A trials thing? No.
Yeah, like trials.
You see it more for trials, but it's not just a trials problem.
And it's like, it's definitely a concern to a certain extent, because you're putting your account at risk by doing that. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that, because they're only looking for the quick results. They're looking for the quick way to get content done. And they're like, oh, I don't have the time to do that, so I'm going to pay somebody to do it. And it's like, why do that? Why put yourself...
That's why. It doesn't matter.
Speak on
it. It does. Like, a lot of people need to understand. Like, I know there are a lot of people who feel like this game is a meritocracy, but it's really just the player mindset is, I don't care how I get the loot. I just want the loot so that I can have whatever is the best in slot right now. Because of FOMO and all kinds of other madness, the general mindset is, if I can't do it myself and I can't ask for help, the next best option is fuck it. It's just $10. It's just $20. It's just $30. I'll pay somebody else. I'll get the thing I want, and then I can go do what the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm.
Bungie has to get away from that. The FOMO, like using FOMO as a way to direct attention toward certain things. I really think that's a problem that Bungie can handle on their side, but players need to like genuinely create more avenues to help players get those things that...
What do you mean? Because I feel like you're saying it's Bungie's fault for making good guns.
So the thing about it is, right, is the player mindset behind anything in this game is there's no reason to do content if the weapons aren't worth it, right? If there is no loot incentive to do something, there's no reason to do it. Imaru has said it, like, what have Guardians done without a loot incentive to be the reason for them to do it, right? And that's what we got. Like, players don't raid because they enjoy a lot of these raids and how, like, cinematic and, like, beautiful and gorgeous they are, or how, like, the mechanics are really fun or whatever. No, they just want whatever insert meta weapon so that I
feel like you're calling me out for a previous conversation, David.
No, not you. Shit, like, I used to be that fucking way. Play. Like, I would argue the vast majority of players feel that way. It's the exact reason that Trials only pops off when you see PvE, like, meta, like, contending weapons. Like
Taipan, like the grenade launcher, like
the grenade launcher, fucking Immortal, which is one of the only aggressive SMG that had hatchling on it when it came out. So, like, a lot of the, like, casual player base goes in and tries to get it. But outside of that, why do they play Trials? No. Like, they don't, because there's no reason for them to play it. Because there's no weapon in there worthy of their time. Same thing. I know a lot of PvP players that only raid so that they can get weapons to go PvP with.
Yeah.
I know hundreds of them.
Hey, look, you just called out T.
Like legitimately, like this is the mindset of a lot of players, and this is the reason why I say Bungie needs to shift their perspective from making the loot incentive and FOMO the driving incentive behind doing anything in this game, and moving that incentive from people play this game to get the stuff that they want so that they can go do what they want, to players play our game because they enjoy playing our game.
But at the same time, though, I will say this, and as someone who's who said it on stream the other day, when it comes to like because even right now this past week, I don't have a reason to go play Deepstone Crypt anymore. I have all the loot. I have everything that I need. I still say that giving Deepstone crafted weapons was one of the worst things you could have possibly did, because now that I have everything that I need, I have no reason to go back in there. But like David just said, unless you're someone like me that genuinely loves teaching Deepstone Crypt, once you grab all the loot, there's no reason to go back in there for a lot of people. They go in there for the loot and they're done. So I think to a certain extent, he's right. I think one thing that I've been saying for a while now, and I might make a clip, I might make a clip out of this later, is Bungie needs to put a memento in every raid. I've been saying it, and I will say it again till the cows come home, that every raid should have a memento to farm for. Because I keep saying it, if Bungie released a taken memento for King's Fall, you would see every PvP player, every fucking sweaty person in Oryx every week grinding for mementos. That way every gun was taken themed. Same thing with with Vogue or Garden. If they rolled out like crazy looking Vex theme, like Vex milk covered guns, you would see every weird dude going in there grabbing their Vex milk memento. Like things of that nature. Like I got T rolling, but like it's true.
Sorry.
If you give people a cosmetic reason to farm
Oh, that was bad.
they would go in there and grind for shit. So it definitely feels like if there was a cosmetic reason to farm certain things, people would go nuts. Like you see how feral everyone's going about this black shader right now for the Halloween event. If they released something comparable in raids, motherfuckers would never leave. It would be crazy.
I would argue the opposite. And the reason why is because remember, it's not just loot incentive that is the problem.
Okay, speak on it.
FOMO, fear of missing out. People are farming these right here. Right now, people are going so feral because there's a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
You only have.
And I said it was going to be a problem. I knew that was going to fucking happen.
Before you no longer have a way to get it until this time next year.
Yep. I knew Bungie was going to fuck up and do some shit like this and make an event exclusive memento. Shit was going to hit the bricks. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it.
I'll tell you, like, look, FOMO and loot and like weapon loot incentive drive this game. And once you stop caring about it, or once you no longer have a reason to like chase the loot or the loot grind, which I think is a very bad thing toward the player base, like the game itself is devoid of life because the game isn't fun to a lot of players. A lot of players are just addicted to the gambling of RNG. That's one issue in and of itself. And a lot of players have this like issue with FOMO and like, I need to be playing this so that I don't fall behind, so that I can play the new stuff when it comes out later, so I can be ahead of the curve, kind of thing. Instead of just making stuff fun, I rather enjoy playing like raids and doing like master content, grandmaster content. I don't do it because I need the weapons. I legitimately do it because I enjoy playing this content. Even if you were to take away the weapons or the loot incentive, I would still do it because it's still fun.
I still think to a certain extent I would do certain things because like the challenge is fun. Like I remember last season when the PsyOps Battleground Moon came out. That was the first time in a hot minute where like you and me said that like our blood was hot. Like we were fiending for some hard content, and Bungie came in and said, "Hey yo, here you go." But I think to a certain extent is if Bungie doesn't give, even if it's just cosmetic, if there isn't some reward or some dopamine from doing some content, there's no reward. People give less of a care for it. Like there's only so many times that I can shove my rocket up Tanix's ass before I get bored. And that's fair. Like there's
That's
like
okay. We
Yeah.
need to normalize the idea of at some point it's okay to say I'm finished with this. It does not need to be a perpetual form of constant gluttony of I need to do it. I need.
You kind of like moved
it's
into a really
okay.
interesting topic. This is kind of been nice.
Sometimes it's okay to say, okay, I'm done. I've had enough. I'm done. I'm full. I've had my fill.
See what
I'm
you got.
done.
I'd say it's 50-50 with that. Yeah, you're going to have fun, but sometimes you have to farm for weapons to keep up with the meta. Like conditional finality, for example. You know, you have to have it. It's like one of the top like trials weapons right now. If you don't have it, you know, how are you going to compete against it?
Right.
Like I literally did like 15, 20 checkpoints to get mine. Like,
And the thing about it is,
Here's my
and
question.
even
Before you go off, Panda, here's my question. Okay. Did you have fun doing that?
I mean, the first 10, but after that, it kind of went downhill, and I was just autopiloting till it
Would
happened.
you say that is a fun use of your time in this game?
If that's on the bottom tier of my list of things to do.
All right, that's all I need to know. Continue.
And here's my response to you saying that, though, real quick, Diva, because like I definitely agree to a certain extent that it's okay to say, "Hey, yo, we can be done," but my response to that is look what happened when people stopped playing content to a certain extent around 20. What was it? Like right before Beyond Light came out. The DCV was created. When Bungie saw that drop-off started to occur for things like Callus's raids and things of that nature, and Bungie went, wow, these activities aren't really being played anymore. Let's throw them in the content vault. And it's like, what? And it's like, people started to make the argument of, hey, we paid for this content. It should be accessible whenever we want it, whether we have fun or whether we get bored, whatever the hell. We paid for that content. It should still be accessible to us. So I think to a certain extent, you're right, but I worry it opens a Pandora's box of giving Bungie the leeway. Cajun, what do you think? Because I feel like I'm onto something here, but because DCV is dangerous. DCV is dangerous.
So first and foremost, I will always say that Bungie shot themselves in the foot right in the beginning with Destiny 2.
Speak on
Yep.
it.
Because here's the thing. Now, this goes back to what Luke Smith said after they separated from Activision, that Destiny is an action MMO, that up until that point, they couldn't call it that. Why? Because Activision didn't want them to classify it as that.
Because of WoW.
Exactly. They did not want to compete against World of Warcraft and such. And because of that, here you go, halfway through the freaking life cycle of this game, you're now switching the archetype of this game. Okay, it's a live service action MMO. So when they did the content vaults, yes, it ruffled a lot of feathers. They said, and since then they still said that it is a very complex situation. It was one because of the engine, two because of file size. And by the way, Destiny 2 is even now starting to creep up to what it was pre DCV. But
you're right.
But since then they've gone back and said, "Hey, we are not going to shelve content." So for them as developers, that means that they've got to get creative in what they do. Now, the reason why I bring all this up is because they've never been able to make this in the way of an action MMO from the get-go. They haven't been able to establish themselves in a proper MMO sandbox, meaning, i.e., there's none of that fear of missing out, with the exception of like your holiday events, with the exception of your world first races. So yeah, we've got the seasonal FOMO going on, and we got the event FOMO going on. But I'm gonna say this: when you got freaking any live service game, there is a seasonal freaking FOMO. There is an event FOMO. I mean, it's intrinsic to a freaking live service game. And to me, I'm gonna say this:
Speak on it.
if grinding for a weapon, if grinding for an item that you want is not fun, or it pisses you off that you quote unquote have to do it to stay relevant, then this is my opinion, then live service games are not for you.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow to a certain extent, because like,
You know,
that's the whole point of that kind of system of gameplay. And some people only chase the live service model because their friends do, or certain things like that. But it's one of those things of like, you have to be willing to say, hey, yo, this game just ain't for me, and not a lot of people can do that. But and this
kind of goes back to what I was talking about last night during our pre-set up meeting, that y'all brought up that fact that when the GDC conference, the Game Developers Conference, when Bungie had their little presentation, and when that got released to the public, and a lot of people blew up about how Bungie sees the public and their engagement, and how they've got this little system set up in order to push more microtransactions and live service products, how the public reacted. I said it last night, and I'll say it again. I'm in no way condoning Bungie and their practices,
right?
But this is what everybody needs to come to realize. Bungie, along with Epic, along with freaking Blizzard, along with Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games, all these developers that do live service games, they are a business. They are a company, and bottom line, every business is about revenue and profit.
Yeah.
And as you as a consumer, it boils down to two simple things. What are you willing to allow, and what are you willing to consume?
There's an old cartoon character who once said you got to pay the cost to do business, and not everyone knows how to pay that cost. So,
exactly. And to be honest, do I believe that Bungie can do a lot better with their DLC freaking pricing, their cost of entry for new players? Absolutely. I will die on that hill till I'm freaking 6 feet under. All right. But at the same time, the gripes about the events like Festival of the Lost, the memento that's going on, to me, it's like, okay, this is a seasonal thing. Okay, it comes around once a year. Bungie has to incentivize in some way for the player base to engage with this content, and having something like the memento, to me, it's a really good thing.
I think it is to a certain extent, but I feel like Bungie kind of opened a box of their own because people have been begging for a Super Black to come back for God knows how long, and Bungie's like, hey, yo, memento for like 3 weeks, and it's like, I don't know about that
you're
one,
playing the game, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, it's
So
like they're holding it hostage, especially because like different content creators or even us, or even telling people, hey, you can come back to this game whenever you want to. Don't let the FOMO trap you. But then after so many years of requesting, they see Super Black.
But
it's kind of a danger. It's a dangerous field to walk.
But here's the thing: even when we say that, it has to be with that asterisk. Okay, it has to be with that asterisk of, yeah, you can like skip a couple of months. Okay, you can skip a year, skip an expansion, but like in my case, I missed all of Witch Queen. I missed all of those seasons.
Oh, you poor thing.
So that means that, oh yeah, I left just after Beyond Light, and I came back just before Lightfall. So I missed out on so much stuff, so many weapons, and I'm having to play catch up as a player. You want to talk about, it's a bit of a pain in the ass for me to play catch up on weapons as well.
He was just talking about how he has to get disparity to drop from freaking Sarah.
Exactly. So yes, you can step away, but it's either you're going to be missing out on seasonal content, which if you're okay with that, okay, that's cool. That's on you. Or whatever grind you missed out on, it's either you missed out on it and you don't get the chance of doing that, or you're gonna have to play catch up with
Look
whatever
what's happening right
mechanic.
now in my streams recently, where like I'm running Shadow Price and people are like, "Hey, where the fuck did you get that?" And it's like, you can't get it right now. Sorry. Like that sucks for a lot of people. That like, but A, Bungie needs to re-expand. They need to look. They're gonna look at legacy focusing. But B, people are missing out on a really good, consistent workhorse auto rifle that they just can't get right now. That sucks. So like,
Yeah.
I definitely
I'll take it a
feel
step further for you though. Like legit. Like just as much as you guys are saying, like, you know, if you're not putting in the work to grind and get the stuff, you know, it's kind of your own fault, or it sucks to suck. But you also have to consider that a lot of people come into the game like at later points in time and that stuff's gone. And a lot of those great workhorses are now lost to them. Because I've
missed my
known
blast furnace.
a lot of people who came in and had to wait the Guardian games to get weapons like fucking Heir Apparent or whatever, right? And that's
Or
not
even
really,
the freaking new scout rifle that rolled out.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that new scout rifle that came out with Guardian games. They can't get it till next year.
Yeah, exactly. But even more than that, like I'll take you to stuff like, you know, like Anarchy. Anarchy was fantastic. But now, like, good luck trying to get Anarchy or Teraba or all these other fantastic weapons.
got
that
my
you
Teraba.
can pay for.
But that's a matter of getting spoils. And next season, remember, next season the new LFG system is going to be put in place. Both as good and bad as that's going to possibly roll out.
It's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible. I'm telling you.
Okay, but the accessibility for people to get into raids is going
It's
to
gonna go
start
up.
to happen. And so the thing is that when you have raid weapons and when you have raid exotics, that's part of the game.
Right, like that's part. I think that FOMO is different from like seasonal FOMO. Seasonal FOMO is a whole different ball game, like the Memento or the Guardian games, Scout Rifle. Like
once it's gone, you don't know when it's coming back.
Right, like or even like or like when they cycle different things out. Because granted, legacy focusing has definitely changed the game when it comes to like curing some FOMO. But I still think Bungie has a long way to go when it comes to certain things. But we'll definitely have to touch back on this because I feel like this, especially when it comes to the next few weeks, seeing what Bungie adds in. Because we just found out a couple last week that Immortal and Astral Horizon are rotating back out. When Astral Horizon just came back to the game a couple seasons ago, it's about to roll out. And it's like, that kind of sucks for a lot of people who, like me, loved Astral Horizon coming back and then just don't get a chance for the Adept now because they took a break or it hasn't been that many rotations, and it just kind of sucks. So we'll have to rotate back to that. But I feel like this was a good diversion. And we'll have to touch back on our main topic next week for episode 50. So, but like that we wanted to get to, this has been a great episode. So I definitely want to like keep the Mento going and wrap them on a good note because this was been like FOMO was a great topic to keep rolling with.
Yeah, like all the. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like all the old, like I quit after the Callus raid because I wasn't happy with Destiny 2, but I came back. But I don't have any of the armor. I don't have any of the cool emotes. Nothing that I see people have, and I can't fucking get it.
Bro, you know what I would do for the freaking Legend of Acreus ornament for like from Leviathan that makes it all white? I would go insane. So I definitely understand. Like there's certain things that just aren't in the game anymore that I would go feral for. So I definitely understand to a certain extent that struggle. Like, I'm still waiting for either, like, next season when Bungie releases the Season of the Dawn bundle and I get my Saint 14 armor and my headbutt finisher. It's going to be good.
Headbutt finisher.
It's going to be real good. Because I missed out on Season of the Dawn. Because I came back to Destiny around the end of Season of the Worthy and the Season of Arrivals. And I didn't get Season of Dawn. And Saint 14 is one of my favorite characters. And I just don't have his his finisher or his armor. It makes me sad all the time. So, like, that's going to be that's a FOMO right there where Bungie has manipulated FOMO, but has finally heard people about that. So that's really good. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We'll touch more on stuff later in terms of different things. Cajun, my wise brother, a spicy Jesus. Please award us with your final thoughts of episode 49.
I think what Bungie's doing as far as some of the weapon changes, and as we roll into season 23, which, by the way, just so everyone knows, this is the last season of Destiny. From this point on, after this season, when Final Shape launches, it's going to be episodes. So the end of the seasonal content is going to be over. But it's going to be taking a new shape in the form of episodes. And if you really don't know what the episodes are going to entail, there are a lot of creators that have talked about the episodes and how it's going to be vastly different than the seasonal approach. And I'm going to say this, hopefully it means more content. Hopefully it means that, every 6 weeks, we're going to have a reason to log into the game, to play the game, to have fun. But at the end of the day, just like I said a little while ago, if you don't like the grind, if the grind of this game, chasing after loot, doing content, playing events, if that is not your forte, then live service games are not for you. Find something that's going to be enjoyable and have fun. Gaming is good. Gaming is great. This year alone, gaming has been in one of the best positions it's ever been. And newsflash to everyone, single player games are on the top of the list for game of the year.
Yeah.
This has been a great year for gaming, and there's more than just Destiny 2. As someone who plays this game and I enjoy it and I love it, I've been playing so many other single player games and I've been having a blast.
That's very true. Okay. Diva, what is your closing statement for episode 49?
Well, shit. It's kind of hard to follow up behind Cajun with such a profound final statement. Look, I got it. Guardians out there in the world.
Ooh,
Remember that it is okay to take a break. Nary, I say, if this game is leaving you feeling like you play a lot of it and you don't get anywhere, I think you need a break. A lot of players are addicted to parts of this game that are some of the most predatory aspects of gaming to keep people coming back and playing. But legitimately, it's okay to take a break. If you don't get it, trust me, there'll be a chance later on to either buy it or have another shot at it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Don't let the FOMO ruin your health. And that's my understanding.
All right. T, being the new member of the squad, how was your first episode? What you want to leave people on?
Agree with Diva. It's okay to take breaks from the game because, if you start to get frustrated with it, it's a sign to play something else. But fuck those. That's how I feel.
That's all right. Fair enough. Fuck Mo's. We here for it. All right. I want to evolve something that I kind of mentioned on stream on my last TikTok that I made. It feels like a lot of the community is in a really hateful point right now. It really feels like we are people are playing this video game not remembering what it stands for. This game gives light to so many individuals and gives them hope that they can reach into the darkness and pull out some a victory here and there, that they can survive some of the hardest battles of their lives and get through some of the toughest times of their existence. And it really makes me go insane that people are just constantly crapping on one another and bringing hate into the community. And it's I saw a streamer had to end their birthday subathon because
Sammy Cat plays.
It really bothered me that that she had to go do that, because it was why are we being so hateful in this community? And it's just I feel as if we really need to open our eyes and know that this game is for everybody. It doesn't matter what your skill level is, doesn't matter what your background is. This game is for everybody, and we need to keep that in the forefront. And this game will be a symbol, a testament through all the time. Even if we're all dead in like 100 years, this game will still be a symbol of like, hey, yo, a story that showed that you could conquer like the hardest battles of your existence. And that's what matters to a lot of people. So I feel like we need to keep that in the forefront, especially with the final shape approaching. We will be back next week for our 50th episode, and it is going to be awesome, folks. Make sure that you are here with us for our 50th episode. It is going to be phenomenal. Don't forget that you can follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all those great places. Make sure that you check us out on Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it, at Cosmodrome Radio. And make sure that you join the Discord server if you want to hang out with us and talk about the game or the show, whatever you want. If you're looking for a clan, hit us up. Clan Transmit is for you if you need a squad to roll with. We will be back next week, and we will catch y'all Starside. Peace out.
Later, y'all.